Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast. My sister is a Karen. I'm Jennifer, and this is my sister Karen.
Hey, welcome or welcome back. This is the conversation that sisters have when you hear us say, like, I need to go call my sister in that desperate voice. And we just decided to share.
That's right. So, Karen, let's start out. You said, I'm not putting any makeup on, and you clearly have makeup on.
Yes. Well, then when you were like, I'm going to do the bare minimum, I was like, and I wasn't going to redo my hair. It's in a braid. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like I would look too depressed if I had crappy hair and no makeup. So I
The
was
braid
like,
is
I just was like, I'll just do a little bit. So this is my no makeup look.
because the lipstick is not giving no makeup look at all.
No, I was like, well, I can be bold with the lipstick because I did like very neutral eyes. Yeah. Uh,
The braid is probably cute. The problem with a braid like that is you can't see it.
well, and it's kind of,
Yeah,
but it's also like I've been laying on the sofa with the dog and so it's kind of cute, but I was like, what else am I gonna do?
right.
So
So
you look like you're all dressed up and cute though.
just a sundress. I was just like, I don't want to wear a regular t-shirt for this. So this is my, like, I don't want to
Yeah.
get dressed, but I don't want to wear house clothes sundress.
I love a sundress.
I love sundresses too. For a long time, that was my summer wardrobe was sundresses. I almost never had shorts, like for a long, long time. And then the last couple years, I kind of switched back to like shorts and t-shirts. I still have sundresses in the closet, but I don't wear them as much as I used to. This one was like, honestly, like I got it at Target 1 or 2 years ago. And I think I wear it like twice a season, and then that's all. And I don't know why it has pockets. So, like, I don't even know why I don't wear it more often. I know.
Because you can't wear a dress when you're hiking.
No, but in the
And
summer,
that's
I
a
don't
lot of
really
your,
hike. It is, but not during the summer. Not in Arizona. Like a lot of the hiking trails are not even you can't use them if it's 3 digits, if the temperature is 3 digits. I don't know. I've never like gone and tried to do it. So I don't know if they actually are like they're policing it or if they have like, you know, barriers up or whatever, but I mean, it's too hot to hike and there's no shade here. When I lived in Texas, I lived on the side of Texas near Houston, and there was a lot of shade because there's a lot of trees there. It was really like swampy, muggy all the time, but you could hike because there was shade, but we don't have that in Arizona. So when I go out of town, like as you know, last weekend, I went out of town, and so I can hike if I leave town, but if I stay here, no hiking.
yeah.
So, hey, before I tell you about my trip last week, I want to tell you. So I was putting on my mascara this morning, um, that House Labs mascara, like of all the mascaras I tried, that House Labs is the one I reach for the most. I think it gives
Really?
such good separation and length. It is really, yeah. I mean, honestly, I haven't used a lot of House Labs makeup. If you don't know, it's Lady Gaga's makeup line. I think I said it when I talked about it before. Like, if anybody was going to put out like a killer makeup line, it's going to be Lady Gaga. I don't know if any other
Absolutely.
performer. Yeah, so and I don't know, I mean, she seems like she's really involved in the development and stuff like that. I don't really know how that works behind the scenes, but everything I've used from them, I've been really impressed with. Like I have a concealer that I think is probably the best concealer. I'm not wearing it today, but I do think it's probably the best concealer like for covering like this under eye
Mhm.
discoloration, which mine is pretty prominent. It always has been. But that mascara, like, the e.l.f. one is right there next to it, and I reach for the Lady Gaga one or the House Labs one every single time. I think it's so good. I have a few others that I never opened that are just like, in the bottom drawer, so I'm kind of waiting till the House Labs one runs out, and then I'll open those others and use them.
Yeah. I don't know if I've used, I'm thinking and I'm like, I actually don't know if I've used any House Lab stuff. And
Well,
it's not that I wouldn't.
right.
I mean, and there's been a fair amount of things that people are like, oh, this is my new holy grail, like the mascara. I think some of the lip stuff is supposed to be really amazing as well.
Highlighters are fire. Like, they're too much for me. I don't want that,
Why
but
do I
her
not?
highlighters are fire, but so are the Fenty Beauty highlighters. Those are
That's
also
what I love. I know.
yeah, I know, that's why I tell you. Yeah, Lucille uses, I mean, she has an Estee Lauder like OG foundation. It's the same one that I use. We've both used it for years, but it's really pricey. And it's like the formula that we like is like not their holy grail formula anymore. It's an older formula and it's not as easy to find. Like they don't have it at Ulta or Sephora anymore. You have to like I think we found it at Macy's or Dillard's is where we found it, or you can find it on Estee Lauder like .com or whatever. Is it Estee Lauder? I think it is. Oh,
And I know you're not
it's
using
not.
the double wear.
It's not Estee Lauder. I definitely said the wrong thing. It's Lancome.
Lancome has
Said the wrong
one of
thing.
their, yeah, I do like some of their,
I haven't used an Estee Lauder product in a lot of years. I'm sorry that I. So it's a Lancome foundation. Lucille and I have used it off and on for many, many years, and it's what I'm wearing today. I think it's like the perfect amount of coverage. It's the perfect amount of just like natural, for
yeah,
me, it looks like skin, and that's what I like. And I also feel like if I touch my face, I don't feel like I just rubbed off a bunch of makeup. But Lucille needed something that was more affordable. It was just too expensive. And so she bought a House Labs foundation and it's stunning
that was the
when she
cheaper
wears it.
price point.
That's how expensive that Lancome is. I think the
Dang.
House Labs is like $53 for the jar of the found. I mean, I'm sure she has other foundations too, but Lucille's using the
Yeah,
liquid jar foundation, and I think it was like $53. And I think the Lancome that we were using is like 68.
yeah,
Yeah. But every time that she comes out, even like if she comes home, sometimes she works like 11, 12-hour days. And she has her hair like up in a because she works in a lab, so her hair's like up and she's just got like scrubs on and sometimes she'll come home after like an 11 or a 12-hour day and I'll be like, "Do you have makeup on? Because your skin looks gorgeous." And she's like, "Yeah, it's that House Labs." Like it's that good.
really. I'm gonna have to get on this.
Yeah. Pricey makeup, but it's again, like I mean, obviously like the foundation, Lucille went to that instead of the Lancome. It is pricey makeup. It's a higher price point. It's not the highest, but it is a higher price point. I have the concealer that I have from there is like, and I think the foundation is too. It's like a skincare slash concealer, like it has skincare
Yes,
ingredients in it. I think it's hard when you put skincare, especially in a concealer that goes on like this area here. It's hard to keep makeup on this area here all day, especially as we age. It's harder today than it was even 2 years ago. I think when you add the skincare, it doesn't stay well. Like a lot of times the skincare, you sacrifice longevity.
yes.
And so I either like take my makeup off at the end of a work day or I reapply it if I have something else to do. And I try to like spot reapply, like maybe just the concealer, but often you can't cake this on either. So you have to like wash this, but not wash all of that. Like it's a trick. I think the House Labs concealer that has skincare involved is more long lasting than other skincare
That have
concealers.
the added benefit. Yeah.
I think
Her
it's
yeah,
really
her, like, foundations and that stuff, but I think she at one point did, like, a rebrand and relaunch with House Labs, which usually doesn't go well, but she, or, like, whoever I think she's involved, she, like, really listened to feedback and really elevate like, when she came back with the rebrand, it was a definite step up.
good for her.
Yeah.
I think you're right because sometimes I think you're talking about a really huge ego. I mean, I'm not saying that Lady Gaga is arrogant. I actually find her to be endearing when I see her in interviews and stuff like that. I don't obviously have any idea what she's like behind the scenes, but she gives a really charming and endearing interview. And her whole thing is like, she's so like inclusivity and like
Yes.
making marginalized people mainstream. Like that's all so important to her. But it's hard when you're talking about somebody who is really good at everything they've done, at least publicly, everything they've done, they're really, really good at. It's hard not it's hard to assume when you're that person that you know what you're talking about. So, I mean, if she was able to listen to feedback like that and alter the course, I don't remember that. I don't, yeah, but I mean,
I
the
mean
makeup line,
can't even credit whatever YouTuber or makeup influencer it is that said that I'm repeating.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
The makeup line is great. Like, it's really, really good. I have had odds and ends from it over the year, like, probably over the last 3 years, I've had odds and ends from her makeup line. There's nothing has ever disappointed. I've like, one time I had to go back because I bought the wrong color, like, it was the concealer, and the girl had helped me, and, like, under the lights at Sephora, it worked, and then I got it home, and I was like, "No, this" it was, like, it had the wrong undertone for me,
Yeah.
and so it just, like, it wouldn't like, it didn't blend well, and, I went back, returned it, got the right color, and I've never looked back again. That's the only thing I've been happy with everything I've bought from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, hey, I wanna tell you about my vacation.
Yes, I wanna hear about your
So,
vacation.
yeah. So we're big fans of national parks, and I am really fortunate because for the last couple years I've lived in the West, and this is where the national parks tend to be because this is where there was land when they instituted that, concept.
Yeah, because 'cause I'm in, like, a national park desert. Like, there's
Yeah, you're in a void.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to make a minor adjustment to my setup here because I'm sitting in an awkward whatever. It's not adjusting. Okay, so the kids and I a while back we bought an annual pass for the national parks. We
Yes.
were at a national park and we were just like, let's just buy it and then let's commit. Like we knew one of the ones that was really high on our list among others. One of the ones that was really high on our list was Zion National Park because it's like a driving distance from where we live, and we're big hikers, as you mentioned earlier. So we went there last weekend. We had so much fun. It was very, very cool. We did not do the Narrows, which is maybe the most popular or famous hike at Zion. It doesn't look like that doesn't look like fun to me. I don't like cold water, like, at all. Like, even when I go to the pool, when we used to live in Kansas and we went to the pool every day during the summer, I don't really get into the pool until like mid-July when it's bath water. That's
Yes.
when I get in. So, like, the Narrows doesn't look fun to me. At some points, you're in water up to your waist. It doesn't look fun to me. It's an 8 or 9 mile hike. That is interesting to me. The scenery is gorgeous. You're literally going through a pathway that's not very wide, like 1 or 2 people wide.
Yeah, I
So
just saw a thing where they have, like and they say you have to be able to pass through this to do the hike, and sometimes people are like, "Oh, I can still do it," and they
they're too
cannot.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think from that perspective, like, it's really unique hike, like, there's a lot about it, but I'm just like, I can just see myself out on this hike, like, bitching and moaning because I'm cold, the water's getting into my socks, I don't like, that's it doesn't look interesting to me, so we didn't do it. But we did do, Angels Falls, or Angels Landing, did you look that one up?
No, I did not. I wrote it down and then completely forgot.
That's fine. Some people call it the scariest hike in the United States. We did not do the scary part. So there's a part you do Angel's Landing. It's literally carved into the side of a canyon wall. So the wall is essentially straight up and down. The incline at times is literally like this. Like, it's not quite an all fours hiking, but it's not quite an upright hike either. It is paved. It was paved maybe like 90 years ago or something, but the pavement isn't like it's well maintained. I mean,
Yeah.
it's well maintained, but you're like walking along the side of the canyon and there's no railing. So for me, I'm just like this, like, don't just only look straight ahead, get to the switchback, and then you go to the switchback and you turn back to come the other direction, and now you're like only like focus on the next switchback, focus on the next switchback. It's pretty intense. The views are remarkable. Like, just it's remarkable. Zion was just a really cool place. I've never been to a national park and been like, why did they choose this? I've always, anytime I've gone to one, I'm like, yeah, I get it. So when you get to Angel's Landing, you have to have a permit to actually go on the Angel's Landing, it looks like it's about this wide. There's nothing on either side, just these like red rocks that are sort of like naturally a little stair steppy because they're like layery rocks, like, you know. and there are posts with a chain from one post to the next, not on both sides. So Angel's Landing itself is not for me. Like, absolutely, I'm pretty sure I would get 2 steps out there and then be paralyzed and not be able to turn around and not be able to go across. So we didn't even attempt to get permits because Lucille and I were both like, absolutely not. Sam was a little bit like, I could do it. I would be interested, but he didn't want to do it alone, which is what happened when we did a different hike in Sedona that was also like a bridge. So we did the whole hike up to Angel's Landing. Then when we got to essentially when we turned around a little bit before the permit level, but it was remarkable. It was so cool. We booked it 6 months ago because it's really if you've never gone to a national park, it's really hard to get reservations at a hotel nearby. Most
Yeah.
of the national parks don't have a lot of hotels, like, in the park. Zion has one hotel, they call it a lodge, and there's, like, 2 buildings where it's, like, traditional hotel rooms, and then there's, like, little, like, cabins. They have shower, air conditioning, all of that. We stayed in a little cabin on Zion. The result of that was in the mornings, you would wake up and you'd walk out, and there's just, like, canyon wall, like, right in front of you. You just like you keep looking up and up and up before you get to the top of it. And there's a lot of greenery at Zion. Like, there were some really big trees and it was beautiful. It was well worth staying inside the canyon. If you can get a reservation to stay inside the canyon, I would recommend it. The cost of that was the same as a hotel, outside
Uh,
the canyon. We had such a great time. It was so worth it. We literally had so much fun. We were the plan, a loose plan, but the loose plan was that we have never been to the north rim of the Grand Canyon. And the plan was we knew we drove right past the north rim, and we were like, well, it's only like 40 minutes from the highway to the north rim. So we had a loose plan. Again, we've got this annual pass. We had a loose plan of running over to the north rim on the way home, but it was on fire.
yes.
So the wildfires that are devastating the North Rim, we saw those, but we could see as we were driving past, this was a week ago, so the fires were different at that time, that we could see 2 separate fires and they looked a few miles apart. It was what we saw was very much what you've seen the video. Like, if you've been watching
Like on
it, the
the
videos that you see where people are like, "Oh, I'm on Highway 89 and this is what the fires look like," that was what we saw. So we did not go to the North Rim.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which now sadly might not be an option for a while.
It's really sad what's happening. I mean, I like wildfires happen there. It is a part of the natural process of of the
Yeah.
landscape. Like, I get it, but it's really sad. I mean, that North Rim Lodge, gone. It was 100 years old. Let me tell you something about Zion. So there's a tunnel at Zion that goes through a mountain. It's 1.1 miles. It's really long. Yeah, it's really long. It is 95 years old.
Holy
This
shnikes.
tunnel was built in 1930. It's and it's like they use it today. It's in incredibly good repair. I'm sure the parks, the national park system spends a lot of money on it. I mean, I don't know. There are signs, like, it's low, like, the ceiling is low. Like, we were in a GMC, like, SUV, like a regular size SUV, and there was no trouble. But there are signs up that it's a little bit low. So, I mean, like, people with, like, lifted trucks and stuff, I don't know. It's a 2-lane tunnel. It has a couple of windows where you can see some really cool views as you drive by it, like 20 miles an hour or whatever. It's dark inside that tunnel. Like, the signs before you get to the tunnel, they're like, take your sunglasses off, turn your headlights on, like there are, and maybe at some times of the day, they only allow one direction. Like, you wait 15 minutes for everybody from the other
Yeah.
direction to go through. They might do that at some times of the day, but, I was so impressed. We were, like, driving through it, and I was like, "You guys, this tunnel was built 95 years ago? That's insane."
Okay, so I think some of the stuff in national parks is old like that because they're like, we'll maintain what's here, but because in Denali they had like very like you pay a fortune, but you're literally on like an old school bus because like the big fancy buses, have like the nice air conditioning and all that, don't fit on these roads that were made 100 years ago, and they're like, we're going to maintain these, but we're not going to widen them.
No. Yeah, exactly. Because they really, like, the disruption to the natural processes is really important,
Yeah.
which is part of what I love about the national park system. I mean, there are signs everywhere about like not feeding the wildlife, like, and I mean, the deer, and there are like wild turkeys there, which I've never seen before. Even having, I mean, maybe I had, but I don't, even having grown up in Missouri where we have wild turkeys and turkey hunting season and stuff, I don't remember ever having seen wild turkeys, but they're just like walking around. The deer at times would be like 2 feet from people. Like they were unbothered by us. Occasionally there's an idiot person who gets entirely too close to the animals. I never saw any animals like lash out at them or anything, but I did see people like definitely like getting into space they probably shouldn't with some of the animals.
Hmm.
But the whole like natural process is like that's the goal. Like we're allowed to go look at it, but we're not supposed to disrupt any of the natural process.
Yeah.
It's really cool because again, like the hiking trail that we took up to Angel's Landing, I don't remember how old that was, but around 100 years old. Like that hiking trail is around, they carved it out like 100 years ago. It's named after the architect who, made the plans or whatever. And they talked about like they go up, they went back then, they went up on donkeys carrying the materials to like, using dynamite to like get, bomb away parts of the thing, and then that's it. Like they did that 100 years ago. They disrupted the
Yeah.
mountain or the canyon wall 100 years ago. They're not doing it again. They maintain the trail that's there. If you don't like it, don't get on it. Like that's yeah.
Yeah, that's very much how they are at Denali and Alaska as well. They're like, well, these are the options. If you want to get inside the park and do a tour, then you pay an exorbitant amount of money to be on a non-air conditioned school bus. We were there, the summer we were there was literally an Alaskan heat wave. Like it had never hit
I
90s.
remember.
Yeah, and it was like over 90 for like a week straight in Anchorage. So it was hot on the school bus and whatever. We were able to stay. We weren't in the national park, but we were like right outside of it. But we did a thing through like a travel agent because there aren't any hotels that are super close that are like where the general public can rent rooms. Like they're all through like cruise ships and you have to like book a tour or what. So we were in like this little hotel village area that had but they were like literally the hotel was owned by Princess Cruise Lines.
Mm,
Um yeah, it was so incredible. So when we were there, it also was wildfire season, which I did not even know that was a thing.
yeah. In some places it is a thing. Yeah.
In Alaska, it for sure is a thing. Like there was times that as we were driving in other parts of Alaska, it would be like you could smell and like tell that it was smoky and and I cannot remember. I meant to look it up. Um but I want to say they had when we were there, they were like currently there's over 100 wildfires going within Denali National Park. I mean, and again, this is Alaska, so
Yeah.
like it's one of the
Yeah.
biggest national but they don't mess with them. Like you were said they like the wildfires are a natural thing that happens. They're like we don't put them out. They run their course, they do their thing. We just watch them.
Happened at the North Rim, and there's a little bit of controversy about the the Dragon Bravo fire is the one that we're talking about, and that because there's two up there. So the Dragon Bravo fire started inside the park. So the national park system had like jurisdiction over it. and the decision was made to contain the fire, but not to put it out, which is a decision that happens sometimes for wildfires.
Yes.
I mean, they're necessary for, like, they serve a purpose. It's not just, oh, they're natural, we're going to let it happen, but they serve a purpose. Like there's regrowth that happens after the wildfire that's important
Yes.
to to the ecological system. So the national park system, wildfire people, I don't know who, made the decision to contain that fire. And the state of Arizona wildfire people publicly expressed concern that that
About
was
that.
not a wise decision. It was 114 degrees. That's about like average right now, 140. I mean, I don't know what the exact average is, but that's a typical
Yeah.
day in Arizona right now. It was like 114 degrees. And I will say, the day the fire ignited was the day that we were driving. Maybe it ignited the day before, but anyway, it ignited around the day that we drove to Zion. It was an extremely windy drive. Like an extremely windy drive. When we were driving to Zion, we took an alternate route. Like we were at this place, so there's a Highway 89 that you take to get from Phoenix to Zion and other places too, but it go like everybody, that's the Grand Canyon route.
Yeah.
So Highway 89, there was a spot where we were just like sitting there for like 15 minutes, and we could see there was a long train of cars that were sitting, and we could see that there was a left turn to a different highway, and that was available. So we sat there for like 15 minutes. I was like, what, like we can't really see that anything's happening. A lot of our like RVs and like camping,
Yeah.
it's not just cars. And we punched in on the maps, and we could take that left turn up there, which was 89A, so an alternate 89 highway. We could take that route, and it only added 2 minutes to our drive. So we detoured and took that 89A to get to Zion. That, I believe, that was the day that the fire started. When we drove on that alternate 89 highway, we could see some black smoke off in the distance. And one of the kids was like, "Oh, it's probably like a contained fire of some kind or a controlled fire of some kind or whatever." And I was like, "The wind is blowing the car off the highway. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody's controlling a fire today." And we, like, none of us in the car, we all sort of thought like, "Wildfire, maybe," but nobody said it because you don't want to be the one to say it out loud, and.
Yeah.
And then like 2 days later, where that there's really bad service inside Zion National Park. There's terrible phone service. And so we're inside Zion or outside Zion, probably like getting coffee, and we have service, and we're like, "Oh, there's a Dragon Bravo." And like I thought the name was kind of cool, Dragon Bravo. I thought that was a cool name. But I think it's named like they go through the alphabet the same way that like hurricanes do. But I go, "Oh, there's a Dragon Bravo wildfire in the north rim of the Grand Canyon." Like that's probably what we saw. It was really, really, really windy conditions the days that they made the decision to contain the fire. And I think about 1 or 2 days after they made the decision to contain it, it left the containment field. And then that's when it got to the lodge and all the other facilities. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. I think the tourism industry in Arizona suffers when the Grand Canyon is not available. Like that's a big attraction here. And I think also just like the north, like if you're not familiar with the Grand Canyon, which I wasn't until about a year and a half ago after I'd moved here and I'd been here for a while. So there's essentially two main rims of the Grand Canyon. There's the South Rim and the North Rim. The South Rim is the one that most people go to. Like 85% of the millions of visitors to the Grand Canyon every year go to the South Rim. That rim is open year round. That's where there's like a big visitor center. There's a little town like outside of the Grand Canyon entrance where like you can stay at like private hotels, etc. Like that's the main rim. It's
Yeah.
easier to get to also. There's like more stuff on the way there. The North Rim is not open year round. It gets snow for part of the year, and it's closed for like I think it's closed from like October to March or something. It's mostly camping. There's really just that North Rim Lodge is really the only thing there. I'd never been there, and that was part of the reason that we were like, I mean, it's on our radar. We wanted to go. We know it's supposed to be very different from the South Rim, but we hadn't been because it's harder to get there. There's not as much lodging there, and I'm not a camper. Well, like we're hikers, but we are not campers. So we hadn't ever been, and we were like, oh, let's like maybe like blast over there on the way to or from Zion. And now I don't know when we'll be able to go again. Like I don't know when it's going to reopen. They're
Yeah.
saying right now, all they're saying is it's closed for the rest of the season, but I don't know. I mean, that lodge is not going to be a quick rebuild. It was like 90 years old, you know. So
Yeah.
I think the controversy of containing or controlling a wildfire and letting it burn, I mean, I think you have to be so aware of the consequences. I mean, Alaska, there's a lot of space. Like I don't know what's going on up there. I haven't been there. I'm gonna go soon, but I haven't been there. So I don't know. They do the same thing sometimes with those wildfires in California. They do that.
Yeah.
Colorado does it.
Yeah, they have, this I thought it was beautiful. They call it fireweed. It's this beautiful, like, fuchsia pinkish flower that pops up, and they call it fireweed because they're like, well, it's the first thing that pops up after the fires.
Oh, I love that.
But it's this really pretty, like, bright colored flower, and yeah.
Nature is so poetic.
I know. Yeah, I mean, and I know some of them they contain and, but our tour guide was saying, he's like, "We really try to just let nature do its thing until it's, like, endangering people or the
Mhm.
animals that live in the park."
Mm.
So did you guys didn't see like, one of the cool things about Denali is the animals. You see tons of animals.
Some of the wild parks or some of the national parks are really famous for having animals. Like Yellowstone is all about the wildlife.
Yes.
I mean, I know there's so much more at Yellowstone. I haven't been yet. It's so on my bucket list. I haven't gone. Denali is also known for the wildlife. No, like Zion is the scenery, the canyons, the hiking. There are also like those rams with the like we didn't see
Yeah.
any. We didn't see any rams. I
Nope,
think
don't. I'm recording in the living room, so the dog is here. Come here,
fine.
lady.
Hi, lady.
She's
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, there wasn't the wildlife is not I mean, the deer it's all like I always think deer are like I can stop and stare at them for a long time. And we spent many years living in Kansas, and the deer in Kansas, first of all, if you're a hunter, the deer in Kansas are famously large. Like I've spent a lot of years having people all over the country tell me like, "Oh, they got the biggest deer in Kansas." We used to see them, like, we went to the nature center in Wichita, Kansas. That nature center is still one of my favorite places on the planet, and there would be deer hanging out at the nature center all the time. I still am impressed. Like, I'm still, like, awestruck when I see them in the wild. Yeah. The turkeys were interesting. I really don't think I've ever seen turkeys. They were a little bit of a nuisance. Like, they like if they're hanging out on there's like this big lawn in front of the main lodge and there's like a huge tree in the center of the lawn, like one of the biggest trees I've ever seen. You can miscalculate how big the tree is because the canyon behind it is so astronomically huge that you sort of like the scale misrepresents the tree. That there's this huge tree. I don't know what the history of it is. I wish I could have like uncovered it because I feel like there's probably some story to it. They have like a fence around it. You can't get too close to the tree. But that huge lawn, like people would be like laying there, in the middle of the afternoon, it's hot at Zion in
yeah.
July. And people would be like laying on their blankets, like with their families, kids running around on that lawn. And in the evening too, like people are laying out there waiting for the stars to come out, all the stargazing. The turkeys like don't like it when there's people on that lawn. So if they're not there, it doesn't matter. But if they are there, like they'll walk up and like peck at your stuff and they're a little like territorial like that. So that was interesting. But no, like we did see there was a herd of bison outside, like on the route to Zion.
Mhm.
Like I think it was somebody's land and they had like a small herd of bison. So we did see that. But no, the wildlife was limited. Now, if you're a bird person, apparently there's like 200 species of birds that are common at different times of the year in Zion. And we did see, like, we saw some incredibly interesting looking birds, like bright yellow, like with a red head or something, like,
Yeah.
I don't know what they were. I'm not a bird person, but
Not crap that we see
no,
here.
we didn't. Like Denali is pretty famous for some really interesting wildlife. We didn't see that.
We did not see a bear when we were there, but we did see like there was a lot of caribou, like reindeer, and then they had the mountain goats, and they had a cool thing like they had a big TV screen at the front of the bus, and the driver had like a camera that he could like point and zoom, and then of course you could buy that video.
Yeah, obviously.
But it was cool because, like, sometimes our tour guide was really, really good. He'd been doing it for a long time, very knowledgeable, very, very Alaska. He's like, "I live on homestead land. I've never bought meat from a grocery store." He lives, like, off the grid for, like, 9 months of the year and then spends his summers being a tour guide at Denali. Um,
Very cool.
yeah,
How
they had
long
So
Go ahead.
they had amazing, amazing wildlife, and the views are still like spectacular. I mean, it's just like a huge, beautiful place. I mean, like when people, I'm like, I had no idea that Alaska was so pretty. That's where Bob Ross grew up. So everywhere you look, it just looks like a different Bob Ross painting. It's that beautiful everywhere. There's mountains, there's streams, but so Mount Denali, the actual mountain that used to be Mount McKinley, is like it's the highest peak in all of North America. And it's supposed to be like for mountain climbers, it's actually a very technically hard climb. And like the distance from where you start to summit is more than Everest. It doesn't go up into the death zone or anything, but it's like a breathtakingly beautiful mountain. But because of the weather and everything in Alaska, and then it's wildfire season when it's not storming on the mountaintop, only 30% of people that go to Alaska to see the mountain actually get to see the mountain. We were not in that 30%. We did not ever like there's
You
a
never
thing.
got to see it?
No, it's such a thing. The hotel that we stayed at has like a wake up service for Northern Lights and if the mountain is visible. Like, with some places like you stay and
Interesting.
they'll like call your room and be like, oh, if you look outside now you can, and they're like, do you want us to call if the mountain is visible? Yes, I do.
Yes. Does anyone ever say no?
I don't, who would say no to, yeah. Cause they're like, and I mean, in the summertime, like we're not going to see Northern Lights, especially not at, like in Alaska, we were there at the beginning of July. So it really never got dark at all. Um, I mean, like it would say sunset is like 1 o'clock in the morning and sunrise is like 3, but it doesn't
Yeah.
ever get totally dark.
Yeah.
So like we weren't going to see, but yeah, I was like, of course we want to be called if you can see the mountain. Yes, put me on that list. But that's
But you guys never saw it.
no. Sometimes if
So
it's clear
interesting. I didn't
enough,
know that.
it's so huge. Sometimes you can see the mountain from Anchorage, which is, I don't know, but I'm over 100 miles. I mean, Anchorage is far and the mountain is so huge that, yeah, but no, did not. Because our tour guide keeps track. He's been doing that. He's been doing it for so long. And he like does a little journal every day at the end of his day and is like, saw these animals, saw a mountain, whatever. And he was the one who said, he was like, yeah, so the statistics or whatever, say it's about 30%. He's like, and I would agree with that. He's like, I do this for 100 days every summer and had for the past like 10 years or whatever. And he's like, yeah, it's between like 28 and 34 sightings a summer.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you guys went to Denali, did you stay there for several days or were you just like there for
We took the train up, which was also amazing because it
from
was like
where?
the glass top train, so you could like see everything
Where'd you take the train from?
from Anchorage.
Okay. Okay.
So we took the train and I think we traveled about a day to get there. Like, and then we get to Denali, like the area or whatever. We had like dinner theater ticket. And this was, again, we booked through a travel agent. It was like a package off of Princess Cruise Lines. Got there and then spent the first night and then went to the park the next day and came home the third day. So we spent like 2 nights there. We got up there like Sunday night, toured the park on Monday, spent Monday night there, and then went back to Anchorage on Tuesday.
Mhm.
But we could not when I was trying to book it, I couldn't get anywhere near Denali. Like,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
closest I could get was possibly I would have been able to find something in this town called Talkeetna that's like a 2-hour drive from the park, but that's where people set up if they're gonna go actually climb the mountain. Like, that's, so, yeah. We did not, no, we never even saw it.
Far out were you booking?
How far out what?
How far out were you booking the hotel?
Like 6 or 7 months in advance, because I went for a friend's wedding, and she got engaged, like, a year before, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you and Michael have to come," and then, mom was like, "I always wanted to go," and I was like, "Come on," so mom and dad went with us, but we were booking stuff, like, 6 to 8 months out, and I
Yeah.
knew, right, because Christy had said, "You need to book that if you're gonna try and do Denali or anything like that," and I couldn't book it. And then the cost actually ended up being fantastic as well, because it included, like, the train tickets from Anchorage, entry into the park, the hotel, everything, and I was like, "I can't get us entry into the park and the train for that cost."
I would say if there's any downside to the national park system, it is the lack of lodging and how hard it is to book. Well, like we did the Grand Canyon a couple of years ago. We did Zion just recently. We're, trying to, again, like trying to get to some of these, but it's prohibitive how far out you have to book in advance. And then you're gambling if you're not staying at the lodge or the whatever, like on the park, you're gambling with, because so like when we stayed at the Grand Canyon, it looked like it was a 30-minute drive from our hotel to the Grand Canyon. It
Yeah.
was, that was accurate. But the thing is that you're gambling with how long the line is to get inside the park, because it's like there's a gate and there's only so many cars that can get through the gate at a time. You have to pay your fees, get a map. If the people in the car want to ask a couple of questions, sometimes there's like a whole ass RV or a tour bus of like 100 people. And so those things take time. Like when we were at Zion, we were outside in the little town, we were doing some shopping, and one of the guys in the store outside of was like, "Oh, it's not very crowded." And I go, it felt really crowded. It like the visitor center was like packed yesterday. Like I couldn't even look at t-shirts because it felt so crowded. And he was like, I get that, but 3 weeks ago, the line was 3 hours long just to get inside the park. So that's the gamble. Like if you're booking your hotel and it's 30 minutes
Yeah.
away, but if the line to get in is past your hotel, or just like if it's like you think like, "Oh, we'll be there in 30 minutes. Let's go watch sunrise over the Grand Canyon," which is a very famous thing to do, but you can't get in because the line is backed up. So, I mean, that's if I had any gripe, that's the gripe. That being said, I understand the double-edged sword of it because you don't want to disrupt what's amazing about the park by building a bunch of hotels inside or outside, quite frankly. So,
Yeah.
there you have it. That's just like now that I figured it out, I'm like, well, let's just book in advance. Like honestly, I think, and I got to talk to the kids, but I think Glacier Park might be next on our radar. That's in Montana.
It's supposed to be one of, if not the most beautiful views wise.
Exactly.
We drove
I think I'm going to book it
through
now for next summer because I just feel like if I don't book it, we're not going to get it.
yeah. We drove through Montana on the way to Washington, and it was so stunningly beautiful, and I literally was like, because it was Megan and I driving, Michael was in the back seat, and I'm like, "This is so," like, you can see forever, you can, like, feels like you can see the curve of the earth, and then I'm like, "We live in Kansas. I can see forever in Kansas too." Somehow, it's so much prettier. I mean, like, I was like, I get why they say, like, big sky. Montana was so beautiful.
Yeah. It's interesting how sometimes like sunsets are really famous in Arizona, like really famous. And
Yes.
I do have to say, almost every time I see the sunset, which I see the sunset multiple days a week when I'm at home, I'm like, I think we have pretty sunsets in Kansas. Kansas is a beautiful place. And for those that are like, Kansas is boring, like, you're boring. Like, look at it from a different lens. It's gorgeous. The prairie grass, like the rolling hills and the
Yeah.
Flint Hills. Kansas is a very beautiful place. And the sunsets are gorgeous. Like, some of the fields, they're almost like pinky orange. And I think Kansas is a really beautiful place. But the sunsets in Arizona, I've never seen anything like it. And I have lived here for 3.5 years now, and I do not get tired of them. I mean, just like 2 days ago, I was outside I was looking for something in the backyard. I don't know what. And I went out there and I was like, "Oh, Sam, come look at the sunset." I don't know. It doesn't get old. It's weird how the same thing can look very different someplace else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, Glacier Park is high on our list. I'm thinking about booking it for next year. I've also decided, like, it's so blasted hot in Arizona, and I really don't want to complain about it because, like, I knew what I was getting into when I moved here. I hadn't experienced an Arizona summer yet, so it's easy to be like, "Oh, I knew it was gonna be really hot." It's different to live it, but I love living here. I love everything about it except July and August, and I just need to plan, like, some weekend, or like, we did 4 days in Zion. It was hot in Zion, don't get me wrong. July in Utah is hot,
Yeah.
but it wasn't the same heat, and it was definitely cooler in the mornings and cooler in the evenings than it is here. And we would just go to town in the afternoon and go shopping, or quite frankly, like, several days we were up at 5 a.m. so that we could go on a hike, like, really, really early in the morning. Quite frankly, we would go on our hike in the morning, go eat lunch, and then go back to the hotel and take a nap for an hour, and then go
Yeah.
back out when it had cooled off. So
That's my vacation.
yeah, it's not usually me, but that definitely worked in this instance. But yeah, I think I just need to plan, like, a couple of getaways during August and July to make it more
Yes.
palatable. And I think Glacier Park is that's probably my next one. I mean, we'll probably hit something between now and next year. I don't think we're gonna make it to Denali when we're in Alaska.
If you guys haven't booked it and stuff now, then no, you're not.
Well, it doesn't well, the cruise ship will still have excursions available,
Yeah.
but I mean, we don't have any overnights on land.
Yeah. It's pretty
So,
far inland.
yeah, I don't think we're gonna make it there.
Yeah. I can give you my list. I'll text it to Lucille actually of all the stuff to do.
Well, I mean, it's all dependent on the time windows. Like, all of our excursion days, all of our port days are 1 day back on the boat by the end of the night. So, we're pretty limited, and then additionally, like, we're definitely hikers. Like, there's a couple of excursions that are, like, 6-mile hikes or something, and I
Yeah.
think those are high on our list. So,
Yeah. You'll
yeah,
love them.
I know, I know. I'm really looking forward to it. It's definitely. I mean, we booked it kind of last minute. It wasn't very much like us to do that, but I'm looking forward to it. It should be really great.
Yeah.
My suspicion is we'll go on this cruise to Alaska, and then we'll decide that we need to take, like, like a non-cruise trip to Alaska, and we'll do more like what you did the second time.
My gosh. Yeah. But I think that's another one. Like, I think really to get to Denali National Park, I think you have to book it like a year or more in advance.
I know. I mean, even the Grand Canyon, like, I think we booked the Grand Canyon 3 or 4 months out. We didn't book it as far out as we probably should have. And I guess because we live here, we were a little bit like, again, like, the hotels outside the Grand Canyon, like, I don't have any gripes about them, but the hotel was like a regular hotel. It was old
Yeah.
and it was a little pricey. We were close to the entrance though, and again, like, we went during, like, we Zion, we timed it, like, right after the high season ended, but before, like, the worst of the heat. So it
Oh,
was
yeah.
hot, but we missed, like, the more temperate weather where it was so packed. I mean, apparently, 3 hours to get into the park. Like, we would just leave the park to go eat lunch at the little town outside of Zion and then go right back in an hour. You couldn't have done that if we had gone a month ago. So we try to time them like that when we can. I mean, some of them you just can't. Like, Glacier
Right.
Park, you can only go there when
It's
you
a
can
small
go.
window. Yeah. That's why like Denali, it's a very
Yeah,
small window
I know.
because of weather stuff. So
Yeah. You went to what was the one you went to, and did you go to
We went
Olympus
to
or
Olympic National Park, to the
Olympic?
HOH rainforest in
Mhm,
Washington, which was magical.
mhm.
I meant to look up and see, like, because it kept saying it, like, there's something, so it's some kind of a specific rainforest that the ones in
Mm,
Oregon are not. Because um, they try and trick you and make you believe it's the only rainforest in all of North America, but it's not. There
it's
are
not.
some in Oregon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it was still, I mean, just amazing.
Mhm.
Like, one of my favorite things was there was, like, this huge tree that had fallen, and then, like 5 or 6 other trees had just, like, grown out of it.
Yeah.
It was
We
so
saw some of
cool.
that in the Oregon last year too.
Yeah. I mean, just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, when we went to Oregon, so Sam and I went to Oregon to do some hike. It was literally 5 days, and it was the purpose was to go hiking. We didn't necessarily do the Pacific Northwest Trail, but we did parts of it, and then we did other trails that were just like not. We didn't do any national parks in Oregon, but we did some really cool hiking in Oregon. It was very, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Well, I think that's about it for national parks for today, at
yeah,
least. Um,
yeah.
I'd like
Our
to come.
PSA, our public service announcement about
Yeah,
national parks. Like, look, if you've never been to one, it's worth it. They are
it's
immaculately
totally
clean.
worth it. Yeah.
It's so worth it. They're immaculately clean. They have facilities there. I mean, the facilities vary. Like I've been at the Grand Canyon and it's like
Well, like
basically
when
like
we were
latrines.
at Olympic National Park, it was like not paved, but it was like a wooded, like there
Mhm.
was a definite like that was an easy, there was multiple options for hikes, and we did one that was like a 2 mile or something. We did like the easiest one. It was so easy.
Yeah.
I was like, anyone could do, I mean, almost anyone could do that.
And they're just I mean, they're well maintained. It is overall, it's a pretty safe place. I mean, there's risk because of the landscape, the wildlife,
Sure.
etc. But as far as like I mean, like everybody pays to get inside the park. They know how many people are inside the park at any given time. I mean, they have rangers and stuff like that. I would say we didn't see a lot of park rangers at Zion. There were less, but there's been some cutbacks to that. So, but the park was not dirty. It was very clean still. All like the bathrooms, the random bathrooms that are about were
Yes.
acceptably clean. The tour buses, like at Zion, they have these big tour buses. It's like three buses connected, and they are air conditioned, but there's some kind of it's an electric bus. Like they don't use fuel like gasoline fuel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think if it's something you've never experienced, like it takes some planning. There's some intricacies to doing it, but when you get there, I've never been to one and been like, why would they make this a national park? I always get there and I'm like, yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always way cooler than you think it will be.
I will say this minor disclaimer about the Grand Canyon. We drove to the Grand Canyon and we got there in the middle of the afternoon. And we took this like paved path that goes along, like it kind of it's a path that's meant for everybody to be able to navigate. It's along the edge, but not close to the edge. Like you can see some views. It goes past the visitor center. And we were a little like, this is underwhelming. It didn't. But when we went back that evening and saw a sunset over the Grand Canyon, and then there's shadows and you can see the depth and the scarring on the walls and
Yeah.
then at sunset and sunrise, it is remarkable. Like there are no words, literally none, which is how I felt about Zion. There are no words. But I would say if you get there in the middle of the afternoon, the sun is overhead and there's really no shadows, no depth showing, wait for sunset because it's going to get way
Yeah.
better. We were all three like, nobody wanted to say it, but I could tell. And then when we went back for sunset, like I don't know if we left and came back. I think maybe we left, went and checked into our hotel, and then went back for sunset. Pretty much once the sun starts moving, once it's not overhead and you've got shadowing happening in there, it's so much more interesting. And watching the sunrise or the sunset over the Grand Canyon, remarkable. But literally the most impressive thing and it's the only time I've ever seen this in my entire life. The stars in the sky over the Grand Canyon. I have never seen their match. I've never seen that anywhere else. It was more stars than I've ever seen in my life. It's a dark, they call it the Dark Skies Society or Dark Skies, something like that. I don't know if you've ever seen it. A lot of the national parks are a part of it. So they have limited street lights outside of the national
Oh,
park,
yeah.
but the Grand Canyon is so vast and there's really not much out there anyway. The stars, like you could see, like you could tell that some were closer and some were farther. The night sky was absolutely the most impressive thing that we've seen ever. We tried to see the sky at Zion and it wasn't the same. It was cool. There were more
Yeah.
stars there than any place else, but the Grand Canyon, the night sky. So if you go to the Grand Canyon, get outside inside the park where there's less lights, inside the park and look up because it was like nothing I've ever seen. And we were in a lighted parking lot and it was still just, I mean, we took some pictures, but it was,
They never do it justice. Yeah.
and I remember like at the time, I remember looking up and being like, this is why thousands of years ago people were so fascinated by the stars and made constellations and like made up stories about them and stuff like that. Like
Yes.
when we look at the sky, I'm like, I don't really get it. Like I don't like what's the appeal. That really like
'Cause
brought that to life for me. It was
yeah.
really, really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Unfortunately, you
beautiful.
don't see the stars in Alaska in July.
Yeah, not so much.
No, no. Yeah, I think Olympic Park is also on my list, but I think I'm going to focus on Glacier Park for next year.
Yeah, I recommend that. I mean, like I said, it's on my list as well.
You didn't go there, you just drove through the state, right?
We just drove through the state, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for listening. If you have recommendations for national parks that are your favorites, let us
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Let
I'm on
us
a
know,
mission.
and
I'm on a
we'll be
mission
back
to
in 2
make it to
weeks.
a number of them while I live out. I mean, I don't know how long I'll live here, so I'm on a mission to make it to as many as I can while I'm here.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Jen, I will talk to you later. Love you.
Okay. All right. Love
Bye.
you. Bye.